观众朋友们，大家好，欢迎收看《洋厨房卖家秀买家秀》，我是刘烨。在日常生活当中呢，很多人都会担心吃的太多会影响自己的身材。其实呢，要告诉大家这大可不必，自己的身材自己做主，吃得健康那就可以了。那我们今天的卖家秀也会给您推荐一些好吃又不易发胖的美食哦。
Coming up, we're kicking off the first official Yay Hagen Family Games with a big old bang.
You are already queen of the games.
Aw, the juiciest, most tender carnitas walking tacos ever. And 2 super fun sides. My Mexican street corn loaded tots. This is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. And my sweet and tangy coconut mango pops. Every food is better when it's eaten off of a stick. Then for dessert, I'm elevating a camp classic to really get us in the spirit. My ooey gooey s'mores brownies with fire roasted marshmallows. Oh yeah, holy cow. Hey, this is me, Molly A. This is my husband, Nick. This is our new addition. And this is our home, our farm on the North Dakota-Minnesota border. The place where I eat, sleep, and breathe food. Hello, little dumplings. We're having a family game day on the farm, and for dessert, I'm making my s'mores brownies, which are rich and fudgy and covered in charred marshmallows. It's 3 layers, my graham cracker crust, brownie, and then marshmallow frosting. To get started on the crust, I have 2 packages of graham crackers. I'll spice things up with some ground cinnamon, a little bit of chili powder for a tiny kick of heat. I'll bring out all the flavors with a pinch of kosher salt, and then I'll blend this until it's really finely ground. It's toasty like a fire because of that chili powder. All right, I'm gonna drizzle in 10 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter, and this will bring the crust together. Oh yeah, this looks great and it smells even better. I'm gonna get this into my pan now. I've got an 8-inch square pan that I've greased and lined with parchment paper. And I'll pack it down firmly and evenly. These brownies are inspired by my love of s'mores, of course. When I was growing up, I went to summer camp every summer, and ever since then, my whole life has just been one big plan to relive my summer camp memories. My crust is packed. I'm gonna stick it in the fridge to chill while I make my brownie layer. These brownies are so moist and fudgy. I'll start with 2 large eggs. And I love brownies because they always come together in just one bowl. I'll grab some sugar, half a cup of light brown sugar. I'll add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I'll pour in the melted butter that's left over from the graham cracker crust. And by this time, it's cooled slightly, which is good because I don't want it to cook the eggs. And this is 3 tablespoons of melted unsalted butter. I'll whisk this to combine. And I want to whisk it pretty vigorously so that the butter and the sugar really emulsify. So every summer at the end of the camp session, we would have Color War, which was where the whole entire camp was divided up into teams, and we would play games for days. So today I'm gonna try to recreate that for Nick and Bernie. Time to add some dry ingredients. I'll get a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, a teaspoon of baking powder, half a cup of unsweetened cocoa powder, half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Cinnamon and chocolate together are so good. And then a little bit of chili powder because these s'mores brownies are inspired by Mexican chocolate, which has that great heat. And a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt. And I'll mix to combine. And for the final touch, some chocolate chips. I love it when brownies have surprises of extra chocolate sprinkled in. Twice the chocolate. Yay! My crust is firmed up. I'm gonna pour the brownie batter all over it. I'll spread this out evenly. Now this is ready for the oven. I'll stick it in at 350 degrees until they're set on top. I think these are going to be the true winners of the games. My brownies are done baking. They're looking great. And now for the top layer, I'm making my gooey marshmallow frosting. I've got 1 stick of butter, 1.5 cups of powdered sugar, and a pinch of salt that I'm blending up until it's fluffy. And now to make it marshmallowy, I'm gonna add 2 cups of marshmallow cream. I love this stuff. It's so smooth and gooey. I'm just eyeballing this in. I'll add half a teaspoon of vanilla extract and mix until it's smooth. I'll spread this right on. I've gotta have frosting on a brownie. It just feels incomplete without it. And I'll spread this all over. Almost there, almost there. Oh, for sweet. I'll stick this in the fridge to firm up, and then I'm gonna go find Nick because I need some help charring up my marshmallows. I found my torch man, and...
Wait, do I get to be torch man?
You're torch man. And he's gonna help me toast up my marshmallows while I chop up the brownies.
Marshmallows, eh?
Just let her rip.
Gotta find the old marshmallow mode. Okay, here we go. Ready to go. Torch man.
I'm really good at the dad jokes.
I love it.
If you don't have a torch person, you can toast your marshmallows in a broiler. Those look perfect. It smells like a campfire in here. Now you can just put some of those on top of the brownies.
Will do.
Perfect. Yeah.
It's all about how high you can stack them.
No, let's just distribute them evenly.
This is the first contest of the games. How many marshmallows can you fit onto it?
Oh, we have to have enough for all of them, though.
I mean, I'm happy to torch as many marshmallows as you need.
Okay, you did a great job. I think you earned a taste.
Let's do it.
Okay. Cheers. Mmm. Look at those layers. Oh, yeah.
You are already the unofficial queen of the games.
Aw, you're the king of fire.
I thought I was torch boy.
We're having a fun family game day filled with good food. And for the main course, I am making my Carnitas walking tacos. They're piled high with juicy, flavorful pork on top of a bed of crisp, salty tortilla chips, and you eat them all out of a bag, so it's super convenient for walking and eating. I'm starting with a 4.5-pound pork shoulder. Everything just goes into the slow cooker. I'm gonna finish it off in the skillet to get good crispy edges. I'll wash my hands. I'll quarter up a white onion and toss it right in, just to infuse the mixture with oniony flavor. I love any recipe where I can just toss everything into a pot. I'm gonna smash 5 cloves of garlic. And smashing it helps that garlic flavor get into the braising liquid. So walking tacos are also known as taco in a bag around here, and they're really popular. You see them at all the hockey games. Typically they're made with ground beef, but Mexican carnitas are the queen bee of my taco-loving heart. So I'm switching it up today. I'll start building my braising liquid with a 1/4 cup of fresh lime juice and 3/4 of a cup of fresh orange juice. And the sweet sourness makes the pork shoulder come alive. I'll also add in 1/2 cup of water just to build up the braising liquid. I'll grab my spices. These spices are gonna make the pork completely irresistible. I'm gonna start with a tablespoon of ancho chili powder, which is sweet and smoky. It's not too spicy. A tablespoon of cumin for those woodsy vibes. A pinch of cloves goes a really long way in terms of just adding that dark note. And then a couple of bay leaves will infuse the meat with herbaceousness. I'll season with a tablespoon of kosher salt and some black pepper. I'll give it a zhuzh. So the first time I ever made walking tacos was at the adult summer camp that I cook for. And we decided to do them as the late night snack during the dance. So people could get a taco and they could keep on dancing and it didn't mess with their groove. It was awesome. Okay, this is looking good and smelling great already. I'm gonna get it into my slow cooker and let it braise low and slow for about 4 hours. It is gonna be so tender and juicy. For a fun and vibrant side to our game day meal, I'm making my coconut mango pops, which are sweet and salty and have a texture that's like butter. I just slice up my mango and then coat it in a tasty chili topping. So to get started, I've created a flat surface on my mango to stabilize as I cut. I'm just trimming off the skin with my knife. Then I'll slice it into wedges, getting as close to the pit as possible, and poke them halfway through with lollipop sticks, because every food is better when it's eaten off of a stick. All right, and now I'll make my topping. I'll start with a couple of dried ancho chilies. Chili and mango is the perfect sweet and smoky combination. And this is fully inspired by mango that you get from fruit stands in Mexico. So delicious and refreshing. And these have had the seeds and the stems taken out. And now, because I love the combination of coconut and mango, I'm also gonna add some coconut to this mixture. It just adds this creamy, sweet element. And I'll blend this up. Oh, that smells heavenly, and this color is gorgeous. I'll pour it into my bowl and zest in a lime to give it some brightness. Mixed with a little sugar to sweeten it up. I'll stir this to combine, and I'll sprinkle this right on top. Easy peasy. Oh, that's beautiful. I'll finish with a pinch of flaky salt. Okay, I've got to get in here. Oh yeah. I could eat these all day. For a monumental mashup side, I am making my Mexican street corn loaded tots, which are the crispiest, cheesiest, saltiest goodness ever. To get started, I have my tots that I've seasoned with salt and pepper, and they've already spent 25 minutes in the oven so that they can get a jump start on becoming their crispiest selves. I always find that I tack on a good 10 minutes to whatever the package directions say so that they can get really crispy. Next, I'm gonna add my corn. So these are inspired by Mexican street corn, which comes on the cob, covered in mayo and cheese. This is basically if tots dressed up as Mexican street corn for Halloween. Okay, I'm gonna stick this back in the oven now for 6 minutes so that the corn can roast. And while that goes, I'm gonna make my chili lime cream. You've gotta have some version of a mayo sauce to make this like Mexican street corn. Mine is really tangy and creamy. I'll start with 1 cup of sour cream, 1 cup of mayo, the zest of 2 limes. I'm making a lot of sauce for this because whatever's left over, I'm gonna use for my walking tacos. It is a double duty, double delicious sauce. All of this lime zest is gonna cut the richness of this sauce and add that great sour fruitiness. 2 teaspoons of chili powder. It'll be the perfect touch of heat, but not overpowering because I still have to taste my tots. And I'll season with salt. I'll mix it until it's creamy. Like every totally sane person, I love tots. And when I moved here, my love for them just grew even deeper because tots aren't just a food here, they're a lifestyle. All right, I'll check on my tots. Oh, yeah. I'll grab my cheeses. I've got queso fresco, which is crumbly and fresh, and some shredded mozzarella so that I can get super melty. I'll start with 8 ounces of mozzarella. And then a big handful of queso fresco for a good contrast to the melty mozzarella. And if you don't have queso fresco, a little feta would be really nice. Okay, I'm gonna stick this back in the oven to let the mozzarella get melty. And for my final round of toppings, I've got pickled red onions and some green onions that I'll slice up thinly. You always want to add the pretty pops of color on top of the nachos, or tachos in this case. And some fresh cilantro, and I'll just coarsely chop this. And lastly, I'll slice up one of my zested limes for squeezing on at the end. And this will add that necessary pop of brightness to the tots. Let me check on them. This is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Just tots with a blanket of cheese. I'm just gonna make these even better now with all of my toppings. I'm gonna start with some dollops of my chili lime cream. This will help cool them down so I can shovel them into my mouth faster. Artful plops all around. It's basically splatter paint. And the tots are my canvas. Next, I would like to add some pickled red onions. These are so pretty. They're mostly here for the color, but then when I eat them, I'm like, oh yeah, you also taste amazing. Next, some scallions. Some more queso fresco. It's good to have some hot, melty queso fresco and some fresh queso fresco. It's all about layering. My cilantro. I'll sprinkle on a little bit more chili powder. Oh, these are so pretty. And lastly, I'll nestle in my limes. I mean, is this a work of tacho art? I think there's only one way to find out, and that's to taste it. I want to get a bite with everything. Yes, here I go. That is a cheesy, salty masterpiece. If you need me, I'll just be eating these. Incoming meats. It's almost time to let the games begin. The pork for my carnitas walking tacos has been slow cooking for the past 4 hours, and it smells spectacular in here. I've just got to shred it up, get it crispy in a skillet, and then assemble everything in a bag. Yum. I'm smelling that cloves and the orange. I think this is gonna be enough for us. Okay, now the last step cannot be missed. I'm gonna crisp up the carnitas in my skillet. I've got a few tablespoons of oil heating here. Dumping this all in. I'll spread this out in the skillet, and I wanna cook it on high for a few minutes so that the liquid can evaporate and the meat can get crispy. I've got my cute bags of tortilla chips, and they're crushed, which makes it easier to eat. And these are just gonna soak up all of the goodness of the toppings. And some chili lime sour cream left over from my tots. Gotta have that creamy element. I'm gonna check on the meat. It's sounding very jolly. Oh yeah, this is looking perfect. These brown bits are beautiful. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And now to build my walking tacos, I'm gonna start with a good dollop of my chili lime cream. And this will just bring everything together. I'll top these with a big old pile of carnitas. Whoops. Wow, it's really good. Now I'll grab the rest of my fixins. I've got a lime, some green hot sauce, radishes, and onions, and I'll pile all these on. I'm in love with these. The onions are gonna add really good fresh crunch on top. Some radishes will lend a peppery crunch and a pretty pop of pink. I'll do a few shakes of green hot sauce, which I love because it's a little bit more sour than red hot sauce. I'll pile on a tangle of cilantro. Gotta have cilantro on my tacos. And last but not least, I'll cut up a lime to nestle in some lime wedges. That'll be a little DIY squeezing element. taco in a bag. More like party in a bag. Now, you've got to get a bite of all of the toppings. I'm going to get this right into my mouth. Nick is super busy harvesting his first round of sugar beets, which means that he needs some extra cozy pep in his dinner step. So I'm making my spiced beef hot dish with bacon jalapeno cornbread. It is comfort food at its finest. It's meaty with a sweet and spiced warmth. Gives me all the feels. To get started, I'm crisping up some bacon because I'm going to use the bacon fat to brown my beef. And then later, I'll use the actual bacon to go in my cornbread. And I'm doing this all in a brazier that's going to get stuck in the oven. So this all is built in one pot. My bacon is looking really crispy. I'll transfer it to a paper towel. I'll season my beef now. I have 3 pounds of beef chuck that's been cut into cubes. Now I'm going to brown this in batches. And that is the sizzle that I want to hear. If I add too much meat, it's going to lower the temperature of the pan, and I'm not going to get that crust. So just be patient with this. This stew is inspired by my love of making chili and cornbread in this same pot. So you have less dishes that way. And then you also have all of those textures. You have the stewy chili, that golden cornbread, and then in the middle there's that magic where the cornbread soaks up the chili. It's so good. It is the definition of hearty harvest food. Okay, my meat is looking great right now. It's really beautifully browned. I'm going to transfer this to a dish now, and then I'm going to continue browning the rest of my meat. And at this point, it's not fully cooked, but it's going to continue to cook once I get it in the stew. And then it'll melt right down and get so tender. My meat is finished. Time for my veggies. I'll add my chopped onion, carrot, and jalapeno. Carrot is going to add really nice sweetness. And these pieces, once this is done cooking, are going to fall apart and be so tender. Now I'm going to add one of my favorite parts about this stew, golden raisins. I know, this is unexpected, but golden raisins add these surprise pops of sweet glee that go with the baharat and make it sing. I'm gonna add half a cup of golden raisins. And they're gonna plump up in this liquid and get juicy and become almost like meaty candy, which is a good thing. And lastly, a couple of cans of chickpeas. And these add a creamy richness and also more protein. Nick is gonna love it. Let me stir this in. I love that this all comes together in the same pot. This is so beautiful. I also love all the colors in this and the textures. And I'll season with some more salt and pepper. And then I'm gonna simmer this for 1 to 1.5 hours and let the flavors marry and this meat get fall apart tender. I can't wait. I've got my beef stew braising away. The only thing left to do is prepare my cornbread topping. Oh, I should have made more so I could eat it right now. I'm getting really hungry. And I'll fold it all together. And that's it. This looks great. Now I'm gonna dollop it all over my stew. And melt in your mouth, explodes with flavor, and that hint of sweetness is perfection. All right, I've got my scoop for the cornbread, and I'm gonna dollop my cornbread all over the top. And then bake it at 400 degrees for 25 to 30 minutes until it's golden brown. I can feel the comfort already. Oh yeah, baby. It's bubbly and that cornbread is so toasty. Before I serve it, I'll sprinkle it with some fresh parsley.
时间过得很快，今天的卖家秀和买家秀马上就要结束了。感谢您的收看，下周同一时间我们不见不散啦！